it's time for the first Cubase tutorial. This tutorial is going to be on setting up your audio devices, your audio input, as well as your MIDI input. So let's get to it. Okay, when you first enter Cubase, let me exit here. You go into Devices and Device Setup. Now the first thing you'll want to set up is your VST audio system. Pretty much whatever sound card you're using, you need to configure Cubase so that it knows to input and output audio through that device. So when you click here, it'll take you to a selection where you can choose your drivers. You should go with the ASIO driver, ASIO driver, for your specific audio interface. If you don't have one, you could use just the stock drivers that come with Windows, DivX's drivers. There's ASIO for all, DirectX, all that. So let me explain what everything means. This first box, release driver when application is in the background. That means, say you're not using Cubase and you want to use your audio interface or your sound card, whatever you want to call it, in another application. This will tell Cubase to stop using it and to let another application, which is in the foreground, to use that device. Input latency pretty much when your audio comes from your device, it has to go through the computer. It gets processed, with plugins and whatnot, and that causes latency. What you want is your latency to be as low as possible. And then there's a sample rate, things like that. That affects the file size and the audio quality. The higher your sample rate, the better the audio quality. And there's like a more higher range of frequencies you could get, but it also takes up more space on your hard drive. So you just pick whatever's best. Or you could change that stuff in your device control panel, which we will talk about in a couple seconds. Advanced options, those are pretty much to deal with latency latency things. Like multi-process recording allows you to, so you have more than one processor in your computer, allows you to use more than one processor, hence the multi-processing name. It's pretty self-explanatory. However, you probably don't want to mess with these too much if you don't know what you're doing. But if you do mess with them and then something goes wrong, set to defaults is right there. So once you select your driver, it's going to show up here, and then it'll give you access to your control panel. Every audio interface, every driver, if you don't have the same audio card as me, it's not going to be the same panel. But these are just some of the options and things you can change. And again, it shows you the latency. Now this is important right here, the inputs and outputs. Your audio device will have several inputs and outputs, maybe 1, 2, however many. What this allows you to do is to, one, rename in Cubase, because your audio interface might have like a weird name or something. You can go in here and in Cubase it'll show, you can rename this to say input 1. If you prefer to see that, I actually just like in 1 because it doesn't really make that much of a difference to me. Kind of know what I'm talking about. But say you have a device with a lot of different audio inputs and outputs, and you use them for specific things, like say you have a mic and your SM57 is always in the first input. You could label it SM57 or whatever, just so you know. And if you want certain inputs to be invisible, you could just check them off that way. Well, I'm currently using that for it, but yeah, I can't do that, but it'll allow you to turn off those ports in Cubase so that Cubase won't see them. They don't really turn them off, they just make it so you can't see them. To turn it off, you go here to the state and you change that to either active or inactive. When it's inactive, Cubase won't use it. When it's active, Cubase will use it. Now let me reset everything. Alright, now MIDI. I currently don't have a MIDI device connected to the computer, but it's pretty much the same thing. You can rename it invisible and invisible, active and inactive. The only main difference that's going to be useful to you just getting started is right here. There will be, when you have a MIDI, well, multiple MIDI devices with different inputs in all MIDI. What this allows you to do is no matter what device is connected to the computer, so you have several, all of them will work as a MIDI input. So you don't have to specifically select one for each track. When we talk about MIDI tracks and instrument tracks and VST instruments later, you're going to see why that's more useful, but it's cool to just keep this in all MIDI option checked off. But you don't if you want to. You could select everything if you want to be very specific. But that's pretty much it for getting started in Cubase. There'll be more videos soon on different things. Going to take you all the way through on how to record and all that. So subscribe. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments, or you could message me on your. I'd prefer to just put them in the comments. You could send me a message if it's like too long for a comment or whatever. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Good luck with your music recording. I sure could use some subscribers, so you guys should help me out with that.